just like a buzzing fly, I'll come into your life, and I float away like honey in the sun. Who was right or wrong, I couldn't sing that song anyway. Ah, but darling,
Tim Buckley was an American guitarist, singer, and songwriter. He was moderately successful, kind of, and active as an artist from 1966 to 1975 when he died. His son, Jeff Buckley, is probably better known than him. He was successful in the 90s. He also died young. Back to Tim. He started out by doing folk. He transitioned into jazz and psychedelia in the late 60s, and then briefly into funk, which was a bit of an odd move. He produced 9 studio albums during his life, and there have been around 10 live albums released after his death, so posthumously. Hi, my name's Dan. So this is a live album by Tim Buckley. It was recorded in 1968, but it wasn't released until 1990. And it was released as 2 CDs, so it's quite a long album in that sense. So what we've got here is basically acoustic folk, maybe with a kind of slight feel of jazz, but maybe only because we've got an upright bass here and because there's a certain amount of kind of whiffling around going on. We've got Tim singing and playing a 12-string acoustic guitar. We've got an electric guitar, which is very kind of clean and it's somewhat in the background noodling away. We've got a double bass, as I mentioned, and we've also got a vibraphone. There's a very loose attitude towards the music. It's kind of whiffling on, basically. Most of the tracks are quite long and drawn out. There's Tim sings quite a lot, and he kind of also uses his voice as if it was an instrument, sometimes using words and sometimes just vocal noises. Sometimes it's just him and the guitar. Unfortunately, there are times when his guitar's out of tune. There's a couple of times during the concert that you can actually hear him trying to get it back into tune, so he's obviously noticed. And it's really kind of, well, it's mellow and it's very much focused on his voice and the singing. Yeah, and it's kind of got a long, elongated feel to everything here. So his voice, he's got a really good voice, actually, I would say. It's quite expressive. The person that he reminds me most of is Jeff Buckley, who's his son, who might be better known than him these days. Jeff Buckley's most famous track was a version of Hallelujah, and he's got a kind of wildness to his voice. So Tim has a very similar kind of tone of voice and a similar approach to singing as well. So it's fairly enjoyable. I quite enjoyed it, but unless you're actually a particular fan of this sort of acoustic singer-songwriter folky stuff, or of Tim Buckley in particular, then the thing that might put you off will be the same as it did for me, which is that it's long. It feels a bit interminable. It seemed to take me forever to actually get through 2 listens of this album to be able to review it. So it's all right. It's decent. I could have done with half as much of it, and that would have been nicer, possibly. So that's what I think. Please talk to me. Let me know what your thoughts are on this album. And that's it from me for now.
A song of love is a sad song, for we have loved, and it's so